All right, ready to roll?
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Because.
Why do you always laugh?
I don't know, is that a bad thing?
Hmm.
All right, here we go. Show number 93. It is September the 25th, 2018. Again, show number 93. 93.
90.
93.
There you go.
Doing big things with my Spanish. All right, so hopefully everybody is doing well and having a great day and a good start to their week. It's been a relatively long past 8 days for us, or more like long.
It's been long months.
Oh yeah,
Long months.
a few long months.
We've had a lot of things going on, but that's a good thing. It makes life interesting.
Let's talk. Balm for Daily Bumps is this show.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, hopefully Wayne and Chi is having a great vacation, and we enjoyed seeing your mom's peace sign out there.
Thanks for the pictures. I love the picture of her behind the fountain, and then there's one that you took up the city. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the one with your mom's peace sign. Mom was representing. What's up, Mom? All right, so we're gonna go retro today. Pardon me while I gain steam through this evening. I got my cup of coffee, so I'm trying to energize.
He's not a night person.
Yeah, I kind of slow down.
You couldn't take him out to a party or a club.
Yeah, I'm out. I'll stay at the house. I'd rather string a racket. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit differently today. Instead of listening to my thoughts and random conversations and so forth, we're gonna go right into viewer comments because there's a lot of them, and a lot of them are really, 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 really good. If you are just tuning into this, we used to do this to begin the shows a long time ago. Well, it seems like yesterday, but it's been 92 shows ago, or at the very beginning, and we would read all the viewer comments and then the replies, right?
Yes, we used to do it that way, but with so many tournaments, it just got super long.
Well, it got to the point where we went 4 shows,
yeah.
and we say shows, we have to stop it at 33 minutes because of my phone, so we call my phone's weakness an allotted show per se, but about every 30 minutes we have to stop it, so we would end up doing 4 of those when we were reading all the topics in the replies. But there's a lot of really good topics, and there's a lot of really good replies too, so what we're going to try to do is jump right into viewer comments. After all, it's your show. I mean, we formed a group, and I feel like there's a whole lot of voices that sometimes we don't read. Not everybody has time to sit down and read something, you know. If they're driving in the car or something and they're streaming it on their, audio, they can't sit there and read by a bunch of replies.
I noticed a lot of people don't like reading too. They prefer listening.
They would prefer to listen, and I mean, if I'm asleep at night and I'm listening to something, sometimes I'm just kind of just listening. So because of that, we're going to do a retro. We're going to go back in time and do it how we used to do it. And I'm pretty excited about that. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump into viewer comments, and we are going to read some of those replies. Not all of them. Again, we want to hold it to no longer than an hour. So we may run out of time, but that's going to be the goal. So for me, one of the comments I want to read first, or Carla will read, is the first one that I have read in a while. Not because, again, I don't, but just you wake up and the 5 kids are everywhere, and the dog, and the grind of what we do and work and blah, 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 and sometimes I don't have time to read all of them. She does, and she doesn't have time either, but she makes it a point I have to read them and respond,
Well,
which I think is absolutely great.
I get up at 3 in the morning, my little one gets up, so I get out of the room, I'm with him until he falls asleep, so that's when I check a lot of the comments.
Yeah, so she's up with the 2-year-old at like 3 in the morning and she reads it. Whereas for me, it's not quite that deal. So much props to that.
I'm definitely a morning person. I get a lot done in the morning.
Yeah, big time stuff. Much more than I could ever do. I can promise you. 5 kids is a lot. All right. So what got me on this tangent to do an old school type setup today was when I got up this morning. I found myself, instead of just reading news or weather or something, I actually had the YouTube thing community on my screen, and it refreshed, and I saw a comment from a new viewer. And again, it was rare that I even saw it in the first place. I do see some, but rarely. And it was from a new viewer. Second of all, she's female, so hey, big shout out to and I won't say her name yet. I'll let her say that.
And from New York.
So from New York, she's from there and lives in California, and that's where I am from. So first of all, welcome, by the way. So big shout out to her. But I woke up and I read this, and I had like a case of the Tuesday blues. You know, I was kind of down, man. I just like, man, today's not going to be my day. Hypothetically speaking, if I was playing tennis that day, I would have thought I would have lost. Well, not really. I would have just been like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to. Oh, and I'm just like, man, I wish it was raining, and it was. It was raining. And I mean, I just somehow stumbled across the comment, and that's a pretty hard hitting comment. I mean, in a nice way, very hard hitting, but very mind working, and really kind of got my day going. That there's a lot of good opinions and thoughts all across the board, from New York to California to Serbia to the United Kingdom to Singapore to Barcelona, and nonetheless, a comment like this got my mind thinking about the day and different important points about the day, not just of the conversation. But she, with this comment, got my mind going. And I guess you would have had to been in my shoes at this point in time, but again, I was kind of blued out. And I read her comment at first, and I'm like, man, this is long, but I'm going to read it because I have to. And then I started reading it, and I'm like, wow, this is a cool human being right here, as they always are. But I'm just saying, she got my comment going. So, because she got my mind swimming, we're going to start with her comment, okay? And then we'll go back to the beginning of the comments from the end of 2 days ago, right?
Right.
All right, so Carla's going to read it in its entirety, slowly. Again, this came in early this morning for me, or I saw it about maybe 16 hours ago or something. And we're going to read some replies that I replied to her this morning, and I told myself I'm not going to keep replying here because I can go on forever. So she'll read some replies, and then we'll go back and read everybody else's comments. But a lot going on, believe it or not. Not a lot of tennis, but we have been active as a group heavily. Wayne Chia has been traveling, right? Mm-hmm. You got pictures. B-Dog came in and commented. Stimpy Boy made comments. Stefan, Wayne Chia again traveling. Dave Rains, Kane, Rahesh, Malfoy, Adam West, Ethan, Furzy09, all made comments. And then we have this comment that you're about to read.
All right,
here we go.
Sister to Queen.
Sister to Queen.
Love the name.
Let's go! Come on!
She says, I'm fairly new to this channel, but I like your couple Dom. I like hearing your voices in tennis, since I think the market is underserved. But I really disagree with almost everything said regarding the Laver Cup. I think you can definitely have your own opinion that you don't like in principle, or you don't want to watch, but then just don't watch it. Don't not watch it and then make judgments on it. Let me tell you, I paid to go this year's US Open with my family, and after this weekend, my mother and I both regretted that decision because we'd rather be in Chicago. There was some really high quality tennis on display in Chicago, and maybe you would have known that if you actually watched it. You speak about Kevin Anderson as if he didn't just beat Roger Federer at Wimbledon, of all places. He is the same man who took Novak to 5 sets at Wimbledon in, I believe, 2015, but it's unfathomable to you that he could beat Novak in basically a 2-set match with a tiebreak 10s as a decider. Believe you me, these players are not trying to lose matches in front of 20,000 people. Borg, Mac, and Rod Laver. You talk about Jack Sock. Why is he at the Laver Cup? To shine in doubles? Do you realize that he is a current doubles champion of Wimbledon and the US Open, right? Players are always the last on the totem pole. I feel like you have disrespected several players in this video alone. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to disrespect him, but like you said, it's my opinion and his opinion. Okay.
Again, we're two long time players, and some of the players we haven't been too far away from, and they would get it too. Anyway, we keep reading. It's a great comment.
Tournament suits make up rules without consulting the players. The ITF gets together with federations who don't even listen to their own players, like France, when their nation's players oppose to changes with the Davis Cup. But a player like Federer, who has to put in work, and frankly, is the only reason why I started watching tennis, decides to come up with his own tournament, and everyone has problems. This is the same Federer who fought to have the pay raise at Grand Slams for all the players, who wants more of an equal distribution of points at Grand Slams to help lower-ranked players. The same Federer who on Monday flew to Texas to help Andy Roddick with his foundation. Also, just so you know, Novak took his week at the Laver Cup to go to the south side of Chicago and essentially have a clinic with those kids for his foundation. Oh, and yeah, Federer joined him the following day to have breakfast with the foundation. They literally brought tennis to a place that apparently hasn't seen a major event for the sport in over 20 years, but all you can do is whine about its existence. I don't get it. And this whole thing about players making money and the new RF racket. So Federer's supposed to tell Wilson how much to sell their items for now? Should I hate Michael Jordan because the sneakers are ridiculously overpriced? No one needs to get an RF racket. If it's too expensive for you, don't buy it. It is that simple. I honestly don't begrudge any player for making money. Carla says she likes LeBron James. Well, it's estimated that he has a lifetime contract with Nike, said to be around $1 billion. But God forbid a tennis player wants to sniff that kind of money. I understand the concern about players only doing things for money, but when you look at players that are the time greats investing in an event, I can't be mad at that because they have paid their dues, in my opinion. My family and I really love watching the Laver Cup. It is a great weekend, and its success is due to the fact that it services a void in the tennis community. Because I'm not going to see Roger and Rafa or Roger and Nole team up on a tour. I'm not going to see Roger coach Sasha on tactics for his match against Kevin Anderson. I'm not going to see Nick Kyrgios crying on the court being consoled by Denis Shapovalov after last year's loss. And I can only imagine what it's like for players like Francis Tiafoe or Jeremy Chardy to spend a whole week basically bonding with tennis royalty. To me, the Laver Cup is the all-star game of tennis, similar to watching LeBron James team up with Steph Curry or Kevin Durant in basketball. People are putting it in competition with the Davis Cup when it's nothing like the Davis Cup, nor is it trying to be. And if a historic event like Davis Cup can't survive a 3-day tennis tournament, taking one weekend out of the calendar, then I think that event has serious problems on its own. Perhaps the Laver Cup won't survive past a year, or it will crumble once Fed retires, but I have sure appreciated it. Again, I understand if you are not for it and don't like it, but I think it's a bit short-sighted to think that it adds nothing to the sport. Last year, Laver Cup made me more excited for tennis, and
We never said it didn't add anything to the sport.
Yeah. Last year, Laver Cup made me more excited for tennis, and I watched the Asian swing, Basel, Paris, and the WTA, which I've never done before. Federer has maintained that it's celebration of tennis, and I truly believe that it is. Yeah, people may not care about Team World versus Team Europe, but I bet when Fed retires, people will say, remember when Fed played with Nadal at Laver Cup? That was pretty special.
That's it?
Well, that's the first comment.
All right, so now there's some of my replies right there.
And some of mine, too.
Okay, so you can either read, you don't even have to read, I was going to shorten up, well, okay, read the responses of that one.
Well, I told her, welcome new viewer. Thank you for watching our channel.
Hey, first of all, thank you, by the way. That comment helped me. There are comments that I stumble across in the mornings, and most, let's say 99 times out of 100, that they always get my mind going. And this one really rocked. Because first of all, the writing was awesome. Yeah. The metaphors and the twists were spot on. Yeah. We have had a lot of sports talk about basketball and boxers and some of our favorite athletes in all types of different sports over the past 93 shows. She dropped the Curry, she dropped the Durant, she put the All-Star in there, which is a All-Star game metaphor, which is a perfect analogy of what the Laver Cup is. So with that said, read the replies.
Okay, I said welcome new viewer.
Welcome, no, for sure. That was definitely comment of the day. Definitely comment of the day.
Thank you for watching our channel. I definitely respect your opinion and point. I watched last year's Laver Cup, and I mean, I watched more than 5 minutes. I actually watched Nadal and Roger Federer play, and I watched him play against Isner, and I watched a few other matches. I said, yes, you're right. Federer is changing things for players. Personally, Justin and I do not appreciate exhibition matches. We just don't enjoy them.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And it's like I said to her, it's exciting for the fans, and it's a great thing to bring in people into tennis. But somebody like that's played the sport for a long time, it's tough to get into it.
I think the word she just chose. She said we don't appreciate it. I think that was the incorrect word. In other words, we don't really have a great time watching it.
I don't have a great time watching it.
Oh, but finish your replies and I'll explain. Again,
well,
I'll explain.
And it gets exciting for most of the top athletes in the world have their sponsors sell whatever product they wear, use, etc. for a very high price. The U.S. Open is ridiculous in price with tickets, food, souvenirs, etc. We will definitely discuss reading different opinions. Personally, I cannot buy a pair of Jordan, LeBron shoes or a $299 racket. I refuse to do it, but it's my choice. After doing some research about what's going on in the ATP, Davis Cup, New Majestic Tournament, Laver Cup, it made us think where tennis is really going. Do you honestly believe Anderson can beat Djokovic? Yes, he beat Federer, but he is nowhere close to playing Djokovic level. I think 80% of the viewers will agree that most of the players are not playing at their highest level.
Djokovic would beat Anderson 8 to 9 out of 10 times in a row.
Yeah, in any surface.
Or not in a row, but 8 out of 10 times.
Any surface.
Any surface.
Yeah. So, and then
that's just the reality behind it.
And then I asked, are you from Chicago? My brother just moved from Chicago, and I love the name, and I asked her if she was a female viewer, which I got to respond. 5K Tennis, hi Carla. We can agree on one thing. I am not buying Jordans or LeBron shoes or an RF racket either. I got too much sense for that. But I was in sales and now I'm in marketing and in business. You always upsell. So if you can get someone to buy a $300 racket or a pair of shoes, then that is what you will do. I mean, how much do people pay for iPhones these days?
It's all that? Still her?
Yes, it's all crazy. To answer your question, yes, in Laver Cup format, Anderson can beat Djokovic, just like Isner beat Nadal last year. And Isner merely beat Fed this year. I believe this for a few reasons. First, Djokovic is coming off of winning Cincinnati and the U.S. Open. What happened when he won Wimbledon and then played Toronto? He lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is not better than Novak, but he beat him that day. I expect that Novak has to be a little mentally and physically drained from the last month.
Man, who is this girl? It's like Supergirl.
So you take that and add Kevin Anderson, who's playing really well and serving bombs, and you only have 2 sets and a tiebreaker to 10. And Anderson wins. Now, had this been a Grand Slam or even a traditional best of 3, Novak probably would have pulled it out. But like I said, after Wimbledon, Novak lost to Tsitsipas, who's a lower ranked player than Anderson. What is more shocking, Novak losing to Anderson at the Laver Cup or Federer losing to John Millman at the U.S. Open? Laver Cup is...
Federer has been aging for a while, as much as I hate to admit it. I mean, it's not shocking Federer's mounting losses at this point in his career.
It's not, no. Laver Cup is also weird in that I believe you are right in saying players don't play how they would play in a Grand Slam. Honestly, some players play better at the Laver Cup and others play worse.
It's because it's a more relaxed environment with less implications for their futures and their true overall legacy, and therefore they play freer. Coaches try to teach, as we well know, they try to teach their kids and their students in practice to swing freely, and no matter what you have on your mind, just swing freely. And what you're seeing is people able to swing freely. But again, in theory, it's an exhibition. No matter which way you look at it,
it is an exhibition.
At this point
they
now,
don't want to get hurt.
It's an exhibition. Everybody wants to finish the year ATP number 1, and it's not an ATP event. Now, the reason why it's there is to kind of stir up the pot a little bit, and we'll get into that as well with a lot more of these comments. But it's a money grab, and as far as the $299 racket, that's just keeping up with the Joneses. There's no need for it, and believe me.
But she is right to say that, he's not gonna tell Wilson.
No, I agree with her.
Right. I mean, I agree with that too.
And I don't want to sound like I'm disagreeing with her, because ultimately we're doing this comment first because I said this has to be up front, because she is spot on, and she's right. And 90% of what she says, and probably 100% right, because it's all opinionated anyway.
It is opinionated.
It's opinionated.
And I'm not. I actually like Federer. I don't like Djokovic, as many of the guys know out here. I'm not a big Djokovic fan, but I think it's great that they actually went to a clinic. Did a child's
That's tremendous.
Because that's what tennis needs.
That's what it's all about.
I've been to Chicago, and a lot of these places, New York, Chicago, they don't. tennis is for the rich over there. I mean, it's expensive to play indoors, so they can do clinics for these kids or get more people involved in tennis. Great.
Well, let's be real too. I don't know where in California you are. I spent time in San Francisco, Encinitas, the Carlsbad area, and so forth, where we always had courts near us. But I can promise you, if there wasn't courts near us, it would have been very, 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 very expensive to play. If you come around here where we are and where we live, because there's no kept courts anywhere, only these random places a long way off have public courts that are even decent to use. Now, we'll play in the yard or under the house, but most people have to pay a little bit of money because...
Well, even we do.
Yeah, I mean...
Even we do.
But,
So...
Exactly, so we're dealing with that on another level now. But let's finish the
Okay, take a Nick Kyrgios, for example. He can tank matches and slam, but generally seems to thrive in a team atmosphere, and I really enjoyed his match with Federer last year at Laver Cup. I can say Roger Federer played better at Laver Cup than he did at Cincinnati. He played more free, and yet still he didn't want to be the one to lose it for the team, especially at this event. So it all depends on the player and what they are each willing to give in the moment, but you can almost say the same thing for every tennis tournament, with the exception of Nadal, who always seems to give it 100%. That's very true. I can pretty much make cases for players being in major tournaments and not giving their absolute best, and that includes Fed and Novak. Again, totally understand that you and Justin don't like exhibition type events. Personally, I think that the new next gen
When
finals...
was this reply?
Right after I said so.
Oh, see, I didn't read this part. See, I missed this part. She's still dropping bombs herself. I mean, she's like serving at 95%.
Well, she says, personally, I think that the next gen finals tournament is ridiculous, and I don't watch that because... But if it gains traction, other people are willing to buy it, I just say go on then. The way I see it is tennis at a state of panic right now. The most popular players are all in their 30s, and they don't have much time left in their careers, and there is no young superstar clearly present to fill the void that they will leave. The world is also changing, and tennis does not know how to move forward while retaining pieces of the past. So in my opinion, this is not the time to tear it down. Laver Cup, an event that is bringing eyes to the sport, and cases like mine increasing levels of interest. Also, I understand it that the Davis Cups had problems long before the Laver Cup came along.
Oh, she watched the video.
And instead of modifying it, ITF killed it.
Come on.
Grand Slams don't know if they want to have 32 seeds or 16 seeds / 5-set tiebreakers or no 5-set tiebreakers.
She did the research.
All of the tennis organizations need to find a way to get on the same page, and tennis needs a new Grand Slam winner under 30. I agree with you on that. I've been saying this for a long time. I think some of the viewers get mad at me that next year in 2019, I want to see a new Grand Slam champion.
I mean,
I love Nadal and I love Federer, but I actually want to see one of the new guys win. Example: Tsitsipas, Kachanov. You've got Severvet. You got Thiem. These guys need to start winning. Shapovalov, which is one of my favorite, because I'm tired, honestly, as a fan. And as a tennis fan, I'm tired of seeing the same guys win.
I agree.
Because we're gonna miss them once they retire, and they're close to retirement.
Yeah, she's absolutely. I can't. I'm rendered speechless.
And I'm not trying to put the Laver Cup down. I think it does bring new fans into the game, and yeah, tennis right now is in trouble, especially in the United States. In Europe, they play tennis, but here,
I agree.
When they ask our kids, what sport do you play? Tennis? They're like. All right. What do you want me to keep reading?
Yeah, keep reading the plies.
Well, she says 5K tennis. Thank you. I'm a female from. Yes, I'm a female, but I'm not from Chicago. I'm originally from New York, and I now live in California. Fed is my favorite. If you couldn't tell, laugh out loud. But Rafa is number 2.
Who Federer's your favorite?
Yeah.
We got a Fed fan in here.
Novak annoys the heck out of me, but I respect him. On the ladies' side, I like Serena Venus, Azarenka, Petra Kvitova, and I have high hopes for Osaka. I'm all for the women having a King's Cup as in Billie Jean. Oh, the irony.
Hey, look, you gotta remember this is a female right here. I mean, she's hitting heavy.
Well, I'm not gonna read my replies because there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, look. Okay, look. So, and there was a bunch for me too. But look, the meat of this is already transpired. Her initial comment to me was, I was like, wow, she really.
Well, she kind of made me change my mind a little about the Laver Cup. I still won't watch it, but I won't say no negative stuff about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end this topic on this because we still have a lot more to go. But basically, I responded in a minute earlier today or I spent about 5 minutes earlier this morning, and I responded a little bit, but basically, I'll just leave that for you guys to read on the last show. I think that was the first part or the second part. Which part was that? I don't remember. But it was.
I couldn't tell you.
It was yesterday. But basically, first and foremost, we never said that it wasn't good for the game. There was a quote in there that you didn't like the fact that we said it wasn't good for the game. If that was said, that must have been from the hip or came out wrong.
I don't remember.
But for I think myself and I'll include you in we. But if I say something you don't agree with, please stop me. I don't want to speak for you. But we never said it wasn't good for the game.
That, but I did say that for me,
we don't have any interest in it.
I don't enjoy it because I know they're not giving 100%, and for me, I wouldn't buy a ticket. I want to see a Grand Slam, but. If it helps tennis, okay.
Or for me, an ATP 250, or a 500, or a 1,000.
I prefer seeing a struggling player. A struggling player win a 250 tournament.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not that it's not good for the game. It's the spread of tennis is good for anybody, anywhere, no matter where you are and who you are. It's a beautiful thing. It's fitness. You meet friends. It's humble in its way. There are some that are not, but the majority of tennis players are good people. And humble people, and sportsmen, and so forth, and sportswomen, whatever. So we never said it wasn't good for the game. Again, our context behind the game is born into it, played it through college and challengers, and have coached it. All 5 of our kids we coach and play, and we work with a local high school tennis team as well. Both of our boys play on it. Anyway, we just basically have told ourselves that when it comes down to 5 kids and all the above and the grind of daily Tuesday blues like I woke up with this morning, that I really don't have time for it because the time that we take out of the day to do all the above we just mentioned, we're lucky to squeeze in a couple of hours here and there, these Grand Slam matches or whatever. So when tennis isn't going on, we're sad, but we have a little bit of more downtime. We started doing the show, and I find it's about the same. But nonetheless, I can't find myself wanting to sit down and watch people dance around and hug and show off their new red $300 rackets.
I watched it last year. I watched it last year because of Nadal. I watched it because of Nadal, and I actually enjoyed watching them play, but I knew it was fake.
It's not that it's fake. You have to understand this.
Okay, they're not putting 100% into it.
So let me put it this way. She mentioned about the U.S. Open and being very expensive. Absolutely. I went there 2 years in a row. I told her this morning I had an opportunity to stream for some of the younger players there, namely some of the junior players. Anyway, doesn't matter. But I had the luxury of going there for 2 years in a row. I didn't get paid much of anything. Was just kind of in and around and working my tail off. And it was very expensive. If I wanted a chicken sandwich, it was like $12 and a drink was, a few bucks or $5 or $6. Yeah, it was a struggle. I understand that. But if I'm gonna go watch tennis, and I myself, my opinion as a consumer, want to go sit and watch 2 people play, I would rather go see Federer play Djokovic at the U.S. Open. Like I have seen them play there, 2007. I mentioned that before. Because there's so much more on the line except kind of having a good time. Now, from a consumer standpoint, on your side of it, as a consumer that buys the ticket, that goes and sits down and so forth, I would think you would want to go the same route. Now, if not, I would think that you would like to go maybe travel, relax, the more luxury side of it, the more laid-back atmosphere. But from our standpoint of it, we want to see a fight. But when I understand it the way you're saying it, which I really didn't until I read your message, hence why I thought it was so great, because you persuaded me to see the non-player side of it. And maybe you are great. Maybe you're a superb player, and we're not even close to as credible as a statement, and we're just not thinking that way. So maybe we were closed-minded of it. But I have been to the U.S. Open. I have been at many exhibitions in my life around the likes of Marty Fish, Andy Roddick, Agassi, Bryan Brothers, and some here in Mobile, Alabama. So the guys are more free there. The pros are more free. They're kind of chilling and doing things, microphone and kid stuff, and that's great. That's superb. But hard hitting in your face, best of all time, who's the best ever looking back in terms of this Laver Cup. I'm not going to use one of those matches. In other words,
To me, none of those matches count.
I can't say that
None of them.
I can't say that Djokovic's year ended badly because he lost to Anderson.
No, that to me, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but those matches to me don't mean anything. They just don't.
All right, so we're at 30 minutes, so we're going to end part 1 here, and we're going to go to part 2 and get onto the rest of the comments. But hey, loved your comment, Jack Sock again, great doubles player.
Yeah, he's a great doubles player, but still.
All right, I got to end here, so we're going to run time. It is just Jack Sock. I think he's a great doubles player. And I said some about that in my comments. I do like Jack, but he just doesn't have my favorite game. It's not that I don't like the guy.
Yeah, he is a
I just don't care for his game.
Yeah.
Anyway, part 2 coming up.